Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. A little Friday night live Q&A chat. So if you're in the comments, get your comments and we're going to discuss all things West Ham. And tonight I'm joined by Dan, common feature on the West Ham Way YouTube channel. Dan, how are you?
I'm good, thanks for having me on, Jake. No, it's nice to be on. Buzzing for Burnley, and hopefully we can get a win and put this bad form behind us.
Yeah. I don't think I could have put it any better. Yeah. I mean, we'll get straight on into it then.
Yeah,
So, I mean, the downfall in form, as we said before, we came on massively down to us losing Declan Rice. I mean, we're going to go through what came out in the press conference in just a second, but it
yeah,
seems
sure.
positive. It seems positive that players are slowly in dribs and drabs coming back for the back end of the season, which could give us a push to whatever we're aiming for.
You hope so, mate, don't you? Fingers crossed. Like we were saying before we came on, the injury curse wasn't really happening. We were in luck, and then all of a sudden, Antonio, Rice, Cresswell, all of our key players get injured. But positive signs, like you're going to touch on in a minute, mate. The fact that we're going to get these players back, and hopefully some are fit for Monday night, and we can put a performance in.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see who's in the chat. Neil, I hope you are well. But we'll get straight on into it then with this press conference. So ahead of the Burnley game, Moyes did his press conference. He touched on Antonio and injuries. We'll go through it. So he gave an update on Antonio's fitness pre Burnley today. The number 30 has been absent since being substituted in the first half of the team's 3-2 Premier League win at Wolves. We were just, on the up then. That was a bit lucky in the end, that Wolves win. We were on the up though. I mean, the 40 minutes he was on the pitch, we were on fire. Shame that he got injured then, wasn't it? I mean, he was on fire and we had people flowing. Lingard was flowing. And then the injuries just put a halt to that slightly, didn't they?
Yeah, you know what, Jake? I said to my dad at the time when I was watching it, I said, this is the best I've seen Antonio play for a long time. I thought he was superb. Everything he was doing, he looked like a man possessed, didn't he? He wanted that goal.
Yeah.
I think that international break just prior to it, it did him a lot of good. I think he needed that because there was a lot of games beforehand. And then, unfortunately, it's he's had another injury. And, that was sadly inevitable for me because he's very injury prone. But I feel like...
Yeah.
Especially on Monday, we'll miss him as a focal point, and I feel like we did against Newcastle as well, just to occupy the defenders and make them work and create space, like you said, for Lingard, Bowen, and Fornals to operate in and show their qualities.
Yeah. Moyes likes to use the term, on the grass. They're training on the grass. The boss confirmed that Antonio is stepping up his work on the training pitches, but remains tight-lipped over his positive availability. Now, there's a lot of posh words in there. I'm guessing from that kind of means that he's a very much doubt. I think we take it if he's back before the end of the season for even 1-2 games, because we thought when he went off, we thought this is the end of the season, isn't it?
You know what though, Jake? It didn't. I don't think it looked that bad at the time. I think he's looked worse when he's come off in recent seasons, hasn't he? Obviously, he had that operation as well. Was it last year or the season before? But at the time, I thought, yes, this. When he gets an injury, he's out for a while, isn't he? It's not just a few weeks. So I thought, I was like you. I thought, oh no, this is his season gone. But like you said, mate, if we can get him back for the last few games of the season, when we're still in that top 4 race, then you never know, do you? So yeah, but we've missed him for sure, mate, and hopefully we can get him back soon. But Bowen's done really well in that role. He's got a bit of freedom, he's thrived in it, and he's developing his game in other ways. So long may that continue.
Yeah, completely. I mean, because Moyes didn't bring a striker in, or to be fair, he says his striker he brought in was Lingard, but that didn't really, solve the problem because we still had that vacant position there. He's had to try something different, and Bowen, I think, pretty much has stepped up. I mean, when we've looked at the start of the season, people were saying the concerns, Bowen and Fornals aren't getting the goals, and Lingard has come in and he's pretty much put that to bed. I mean, Bowen and Fornals, they're not elusive goal scorers, are they? But they're hard workers, and they definitely do the team really, really well, don't they?
They do, certainly. Spot on, mate. I think with Bowen is that transition from the Championship. He's naturally, I feel like he was due a bad run of games. It was fair, wasn't it? That transition, a lot of games he had as well, and he did have a sticky form. You're right, and Fornals as well can be a liability in front of goal. He misses them chances, and it's really infuriating because we know he's got the ability to finish them. I think you remember before we signed him, there was the YouTube video where he scored from almost the halfway line. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So he's got that in his locker. But two very good team players for me. They work really hard. They've got good quality, and I think at the moment over Benrahma, Moyes favours that. The work rate and the end products. But no, the two very integral players for this team, and developing every week, mate. So
yeah. Well, you mentioned Benrahma. Now I'm gonna put a big question to you before we go back to the injuries.
Yeah.
Should Benrahma be in the starting 11, and would you sacrifice him in there over a Fornals? Do you think that do you think the criticism he gets is justified? What's your whole thoughts on what's happened with Benrahma? As people say, an agenda. What's your whole take on it?
Yeah, it's a big topic, mate, isn't it? I see it a lot on Twitter at the moment, and my whole take on it is that he's got a lot of quality. I think you've seen that at Brentford. He's got a lot of ability. We see it on the pitch, but it's his end product for me. It's when against who was it last game? He in the last minute he had a shot, didn't he? And he could have passed it out wide to Johnson. I think we know he's got that in his locker because he showed it against Leeds away early in the season, but he's rushing too much. He needs to take his time, and I think if he was composed on the ball, did the right things in the right areas, Moyes would trust him more. So my thoughts are, my rationale is that he's a very good player, but he needs to start improving his end product. And in terms of the Burnley game, yes, I would play him because I thought in the reverse fixture when we played them at home, I thought he was very good. It was one of his better games. He had an influence in the goal. And and if they're sitting deep, mate, it's a chance for him to get the ball and, just that creative spark, maybe. I think Fornals has better work rate, but for me, I'd give him a go. I'd give him a confidence booster and just say, show out, go on the pitch and do show what you can do. And hopefully he can score a goal.
Yeah. I'm a massive Benrahma fan, and I agree with you on that. That would have really boiled Moyes' blood when he did that in the last minute. We were going forward, and he put it miles wide, and I thought he shouldn't have done that. That is going to prove Moyes' point spot on, that he doesn't want to play you because he does that kind of stuff. Because that's what that's not what Moyes wants to do. That's not Moyes' way of doing it, and I'm still convinced. Obviously, it wasn't Moyes' signing, but no. That bit at the end, I think, just annoyed people, and it annoyed me because I'm the biggest of Benrahma fans. I'm just like, don't do that because you're not helping yourself in a way. I think. But let's see who else is in the chat. Luke, hope you're well. Here he is. Peach, I hope you're well. I hope you are well. Speaking to each other, Luke, aka Mr. Legend, Peachington, King of Canada. Let's have a look then. So Luke says gives the ball away too often, isn't at the level of the Prem at the moment. I keep saying it. I feel he's got to have a couple of game run in the starting lineup, and I'm not going to really judge him from that until he gets that consistency, because I think players thrive off consistency. And I mean, is he going to chuck him in there? I think the Burnley game is a fantastic opportunity for him to showcase his ability if he's put on the pitch. Neil says, I think he could be given a start against Burnley, could rest Fornals. I agree. I don't think Fornals had his best game at the weekend against Chelsea. But to be honest, none of our players had a best game. It wasn't a very good game overall, was it?
No, it was a very expected game in terms of what Chelsea do under their new manager. They're very resolute. They're very hard to break down. Not the prettiest team to watch. It was a boring game, wasn't it? But I thought we played well, Jake. I just didn't feel like we created enough to warrant anything from the game, really. I think we did okay, but obviously they took their chance. In terms of their goal, I feel like we could have defended that a bit better because it went in between Balbuena and Souček, and it was a bit... because we naturally are instructed to sit deep on the deep in the area when there's a cross coming in. There's always that space. If you look through the seasons, we always concede them type of goals. But it was positive. We got 5 cup finals to go, mate, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can be up in the mix.
Yeah, I completely agree. Right, let's just because we went off a bit there, we're gonna go back to the injuries,
Yeah,
and we will see what Moyes says. And Moyes has said he also touched on potential returns. So Aaron Cresswell, who has got his leg injury, Declan Rice with his knee injury, and Masuaku also with a knee injury, whilst also Craig Dawson, we'll discuss him in just a second, coming back from a one-match suspension.
yeah.
He said about Antonio Mikel is working with the physios and he's been out on the grass. He likes that term, David Moyes. So, so I wouldn't rule him out yet, but I don't want to be ruling him in as well. That's such a David Moyes thing to say. In
It
it,
is.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
rule him out, because he doesn't want to give the opposition too much, which we can all understand. But I'm not ruling him. I'm not ruling him out. Obviously, they won't know until a couple of days because it's not till Monday, and that gives us a bit of an advantage, doesn't it? There's a couple more days there to get these players back that we desperately need from injury. So he could be back. This could be mind games, or Antonio could be back before expected, and I think that could happen with a certain Declan Rice as well.
Yeah, definitely, Jake. It's he's keeping us guessing, Moyes, isn't he? He always likes to do that with his team selection. Maybe it might be too soon for Antonio, maybe, but hopefully, Cresswell's back, or one of them. That'll be key for me. But the thing is, do we save them for more important games? No disrespect to Burnley, or do we rush them in and think, hang on, Burnley have beaten Wolves 4-0. Their confidence is going to be through the roof. So you need to bring these players in to stop them. Because who would you play on the left, Jake? Would you play Johnson, or it's difficult, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's difficult. Somebody's just popped in, and let's get his thoughts on it. Andy, how are you?
Not bad, mate. I couldn't resist. I'm on my way home. There's traffic, so I pulled over and thought I'd join into the chat.
Oh, thank you very much. So we're just discussing the injuries. Perhaps Mikel Antonio has come out today that he might be back a bit before schedule, and perhaps Aaron Cresswell as well. Hopefully injuries are coming back at the right time, which could be crucial for us for the Burnley game and for games to come.
Yeah, no, definitely, mate. I think that not only from them returning in the squad, I think it would boost the morale of the team as well. The fact that the characters like Declan Rice, etc., even if they don't play, the fact that they're in and around the squad, and I know it gets mixed reactions, but I just hope Masuaku's in the squad, because I think he can be the difference from us hitting them on the counter attack, in my opinion.
Yeah. I know you love a bit of Masuaku, and James isn't here tonight, so you can say it. You can say it freely, Andy. But yeah, I mean the players coming back could be a massive boost, Dan. But what are you going to do? Say we've got, the possibilities of Cresswell coming back. We've got injuries coming back in the defence, and Moyes has got choices. And as you said just a minute ago, he likes to keep us guessing. I mean, he chucked Fredericks in last week. He could do anything. So I suspect we're going to stick with a back five. Who knows? I suspect we'll stick with a back five, especially if we get Masuaku back. But we've got Dawson coming back as well. There's lots of options. But if you were David Moyes, what are you doing with that back five?
I'm putting Craig Dawson straight back in there to deal with Chris Wood.
I agree.
Because Dwight McNeil, I think his 16 Premier League assists, 10 of them have gone for Chris Wood. And I feel like you need to nullify that. And Vidra as well. Vidra's a decent player. He's done it at Watford with Deeney as well. So he likes that big and small man combo. So I'd put Dawson straight back in there. At the expense of him, maybe take Diop out. I'm not sure. Maybe go with Ben Rama. I'm not. But I'd probably stick with a back five, like you said. And maybe, like Andy said, put Masuaku in there because he'll suit this game going forward and give him a license to bomb forward. So there's plenty of options,
Yeah, and having Masuaku back, he's got his haters, Andy, hasn't he? But he brings us up the pitch, is what we definitely missed against Chelsea, just taking us up the pitch with that bit of pace. So I'm going to ask you the same question then. If you're David Moyes, back five players coming back, Dawson. So options, you've got Dawson, Ogbonna, Balbuena, Cresswell if he's back, Frederick, Soufal. There's plenty of players to choose from. What are you going for?
Dawson definitely needs to come back in, because Dawson and Bonner are the best headers of the ball. So there's going to be a lot of balls coming in. So, but for me personally, I would go with a back four. If Cresswell's fit, I'd go with a back four. and pack out the midfield. Soufal, obviously Creswell, left centre back, and I would put Rice and I think Rice is going to play. I reckon that's going to be the shock, in my opinion. I think Rice will play, and I think he'll go with a midfield three of, if Rice does play, Rice, Noble, and Souček, and I reckon he'll have Benrahma, Lingard, and Bowen as a front three.
I mean, that's a very positive starting lineup there. You know, Benrahma in there, sticking Noble in there, packing the midfield down, which we haven't really seen. You know, when we get players back or suspensions or whatever, which have been few and far between, thankfully, this season, because we're very light in this area. Moyes tends to stick with his two in the middle, and as Fornals comes back and helps out every now and then. But I mean, He's definitely got options. I mean, up front as well, he's got options, what he can do. I mean, obviously, there's the everlasting question, does Benrahma come back in? We ask this question every week, and there's just so many things he can do, and you never know what Moyes is going to pull out the bag.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of options there, isn't there? Because Benrahma's so versatile as well. I think you can play him through the middle, you can play him on the wing, because you can come in on the left like he did at Brentford. He scored a lot of goals from, you know, dropping from the left into the middle. So there's, like you said, there's plenty of options. And on that Rice note, well, Andy said a very good point. You know, Rice is pivotal to this side in every aspect. And I feel like Souček's not really been the same player since Rice has been out. He's obviously had a lot more defensive responsibilities. So like Andy touched on, Burnley against Wolves, they were very good. They were very pressing high all the time. Kieran Westwood's a very good player as well for them. And if you get Rice in there to keep him quiet, then it might work. So I think that's a good suggestion from Andy, that we, you know, compact that midfield and you know, bully them a bit to stop them bullying us. So I'm all for that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options, but we'll continue as we come to the end of this press conference, or the snippets out of it that we've been given. Moyes also goes on to say, let's hope that Mikel's got a chance, but it's not just him. We've been obviously without Creswell, Rice, Arthur, Dawson's been suspended, and we're working as hard and as fast as we can to get those players back. And he says those players have been involved in most of the games for most of the season. In truth, we've been pretty consistent with our team selection because of not having too many injuries, and goes on to say when the game's going on and all of that jazz. But yeah, I mean it's positive going forward, and you've both said, and I agree with you, Craig Dawson comes back in. There's a lot of people saying that he needs to sit out. I think especially with Chris Wood there, we need the aerial ability, and I don't know with Diop, he's just he's been all right, but there. You know what I mean? There's always a mistake in him, and you just don't know with him, do you?
No, Diop, I really do feel sorry for, to be perfectly honest. 1 second. Yeah, sorry, 1 second.
That's all right.
Not bad, mate.
We'll take him out for a minute.
Do you want me to answer his question?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Diop's... Again, he's very frustrating because we know there's a perfectly good player in there. You know, I think it was against Spurs away where we beat them, mate, for we're the first team to beat them in a new stadium, and he had an absolute blinder. He ran all the pitch and nearly scored the second goal for us. So he's got that ability, but the biggest thing for me is his distribution on the ball. I think he could be very shaky. He can give it away, passing between the lines. He's not the best. So Jake, I feel like Balbuena's better on the ball, and Diop as well. Defensively, sometimes he has a lapse of concentration, and against Burnley, if you do that, they'll punish you. You know, like any team will in this league. So,
yeah.
Again, I agree with Andy, the fact that he's played well the last few games. Maybe against Newcastle he struggled, but Dawson was sent off, so there was a less defender. So it's I'm mixed on him. You know, he's a good player, but then again, you know, he's prone to a mistake for me.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing with him.
Yeah. So, Balbuena, obviously the red card rescinded. We're not going to touch on that too much because people are talking about it to death, and we want to think a bit positively and not talk about it. It's actually still saved in my thing here. I'm just get rid of it. Completely get rid of it. But I will ask you just to touch on it. Thoughts on that? Balbuena coming back gives them another option. So people are saying, him over Diop, this person over this person. It just depends what Moyes wants to do, and Moyes love his way. And sometimes it's strange, but we've learnt this season that we've got to trust Moyes, and he's very rarely. Let's be honest. I mean, one that comes to mind is Brighton at home when we drew 2-2 a couple of months ago, where he got it wrong. There's not many games where he gets it wrong. It seems to be Man United. He seems to get it wrong, but otherwise, we've just got to trust him, haven't we? And the process and what he does.
Yeah, exactly. Spot on. The results have spoken for themselves. I think sometimes this season we've been like, oh, why has he included that player or this player? But in fact, he's got it spot on from the get-go. His subs have been very good as well. I think sometimes he could bring subs on a bit quicker than he does, but the subs he does eventually make, most of the time, they're right, they're correct. So again, you've got to trust him for Monday night, and he'll be looking for a reaction from them players for sure. He'll know that we can't slip up anymore. And if he personally, I'd go for a back five, but I think he'll go for a back four. I agree with Andy, who was just on. I think he'll go with Dawson and Ogbonna, two centre-backs who work well with each other. I feel like Balbuena will be harshly dropped. And I feel like you'll have either Rice back in there, Benrahma will come back in. So there's plenty of options, and whatever team he chooses, I'm fully behind it because, like you said, he's never really got it wrong this season.
Yeah. Somebody just popped in the back. I'll get him on in a minute, but I mean, just before we do, I mean, I'm just going to highlight it because we don't usually get awards at West Ham, and this is a bit new. We've had 3 in 1 week. So, firstly, for all of you FIFA fans out there, if you can look closely there, and I'll put it even closer for you, Thomas Souček has been given a team of the season for all of you FIFA lovers out there. People have said for perhaps that we need to that Jesse Lingard should have got one, but I mean, I can't remember the last time we've had a team of the season, and that's fantastic to see. And that's fantastic. I mean, the players in there, I mean, I have no idea how Jamie Vardy's got one, but there's some serious players in there, and Thomas Souček seriously really, really does deserve that. And in the week as well, I think it's called the London Football Awards. We got 2 awards again. We're on fire. Lucas Fabianski won Goalkeeper of the Year. I mean, it's a credit to him. Obviously, a little bit of a slip up against Newcastle, but he's just talk to me about him because he's just superb, and he just keeps on going for the last few seasons. He's been superb, hasn't he?
One of our best keepers since, I'd say, Robert Green. Do you remember him?
I don't know, but I've definitely
Robert Green,
I've heard of him. Yeah.
It's top draw. Very consistent, and even Green. All our keepers have had mistakes in them, and all players do. That's natural. But Fabianski's just been incredibly consistent. Such a good signing as well from Swansea. Didn't cost a lot, did he, at the time? And
no.
That Newcastle game, he made a mistake. But think about the times he's even this season won us points, kept us in games. He's a fantastic goalkeeper. When I feel like he's 36 now. He's getting on a bit, but even to have him around the squad as well, that mentality he has been in the Premier League for so long. He's one of our best signings in recent years, Jake, 100%.
Yeah, and the gaffer has got the credit he deserves. He's been given the London Football Awards Manager of the Year. Now let's hope that he gets the PFA one as well, because fully deserved as well. But the gaffer, hats off to him. I mean, if you just go on Twitter after a game and we lose, I mean, he gets slated, but that's what's going to happen, isn't it? But he's just, I mean, what he's done. I mean, just to put it in, I'm going to do a season review at the end, and just to put in the title, even if we get European football, even if we get Europa League, going from relegation to Europa League in one season, incredible. And the way we were talking after Dean Garner left, it was very negative at the club at the start of the season, and how he's turned it around is superb. But to also get his thoughts on this, let's spice things up a bit. Peach, can you hear us?
Yo, I can hear you loud and clear, homeboy. What are you saying? Jake? What are you saying, Dad?
All right, Peach.
I'm good. I'm good, Peach. What's your thoughts on what we've been talking about? I mean, we've had some awards: Manager of the Year, Goalkeeper of the Year. We've got some awards, Peach.
Yo, I'm telling you, man. Like when David Moyes came back, I was like, but it's like he came back, and it's like Sullivan didn't want to let him have Pierce back. You know what I mean? Well, not only did he go get Pierce, he got Irvine, he got Naveem, Southgate's boy, Kevin Nolan, Mr. Chicken Dance. Like, Homeboy's done exceptionally well. Exceeded all expectations from what I thought was going to go on. And hats off to the man, straight up.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't discussed this here, but Dan, the backroom staff, as Peach alludes to, Irvine, Nevin, Kevin Nolan, they must have a massive impact, along with David Moyes, a class. Kevin Nolan knows the club, a very, very good backroom staff, and I think that showed this season.
Hey, Jake, you know who we're missing in the backroom staff, though?
Who?
Adam Frankel. Straight up. That's who we're missing in the backroom staff is Adam Frankel, guys.
Fair enough, Peach. I'll tell you what, we're missing you in the backroom staff as well. But Dan, it's just what they've done and what Moyes has done. I mean, they've got to get the credit, as we always say. A superb job. I mean, the boy band, as they're calling it, have been superb, haven't they? As we've said, going from relegation to Europa League, perhaps.
Yeah, spot on, Jake. A massive, if you like, overachievement, like you said, like with Diangana leaving, we're all negative. We all thought, here we go again. We're selling one of our most promising players to probably direct relegation rival, but the way we've come in and turned it around, and like you said, like Peach said, getting Kevin Nolan in, who knows the club from top to bottom, has been a player here, and knows how West Ham want to play, knows what the fans want as well. I think credit to everyone, and we're forgetting as well, when Moyes had COVID, we beat Wolves, we won 3 and 4-0. So it's the fact that the staff stepped in for Moyes, did a spot on job, and they don't get enough credit, and hopefully Moyes gets Premier League Manager of the season, because he absolutely deserves it.
Oh, 100%. Jake, did you hear the news and the rumors? Andy Miles is going to be our new shot stopper, dog. Straight up.
We've just connected. We've just connected again with Andy, and I did watch snippets of Russ's show when I got home from school, and we've got the new keeper down at the bottom there.
Right there, man.
We can't hear you. We can't.
Running,
No, we still can't hear you. Oh God, live YouTube people. Right. Let's take some comments before we let's see if we can get Andy. Right. Simon, hope you're well. Yeah, Peach, did you tell the guys about the new West Ham goalkeeper? There he is, right there.
No, Simon.
This is a question. Has social media affected Anderson and Lanzini's confidence? Obviously, we're hopefully going to see, hopefully some people will see Anderson come back to the club or be shipped out in the summer. And Lanzini seems to be going through the door as well. But Dan, I'm going to put this to you first. I mean, Anderson, he got a hell of a lot of, he got a hell of a lot of criticism when he was at the club, because
you got abused.
Because he was such a frustrating player, where he turned up when he wanted and he played well when he wanted. But to answer Mandy's question, do you think social media affected or affects these players?
Yeah, definitely. I think Twitter's social media in general, such a reactionary platform that, if like you say, we've been doing so well this season, but if we lose to, say, Burnley on Monday, people will act like we're in a relegation fight. It is toxic. It is very impulsive. It's the minority, but there's some people on there that will send abuse to these players. And that's why the boycott's taking place, like you said. And definitely, it affects all players. I'm sure some players won't even go on it after a game because it'll affect them that much, especially... to answer Mandy's question, it probably has. But for me, I feel like they've been frozen out of West Ham because I believe it is a mentality issue with their confidence, whether it's social media or something else, I don't know. But Anderson's a frustrating player, but he's not getting in the Porto squad at the moment. So I'm not sure what's happening there. But yeah, Twitter's a very reactionary place. It's not a good place sometimes. And more needs to be done simply to protect the players first and foremost, and to make it better in the future for them to enjoy their lives outside of football.
Yeah. Peach, what's your thoughts on what Mandy asked then about social media and football?
Yeah, I think it's ruined the man. Really, like he's one of those players, Jake, where you kind of, oh, where did our shot stopper go? But
I
like,
know.
no, he, he's like one of those players, Anderson, where you kind of have to like baby him. You have to put your arm around him. He's a confidence player, man, and he doesn't have any right now. You know what I mean? He doesn't have any right now. Like, he has bags of skill. That man is so skillful, but it's only when he's feeling himself, and he's not feeling himself right now, man. So I
Mm,
think I agree with what Dan was saying. Like, I think it's done an injustice, and Twitter is a cesspool. That's why I'm not on it. Like,
mm.
the poor guy, man. Like, honestly, he has bags of skill, man.
Yeah. In terms of Anderson on the pitch, then Dan. So when he comes back from his loan in the summer, because I don't think he's there. I think he's going to come back to West Ham, or we're going to ship him out. So what would you do? I mean, Moyes has got the reputation to convert players, hasn't he? And what would you do? You
Yep.
know, if you had control, Dan, what would you do? Would you try and get 10, 15 million out of him to potentially try and get new players that David Moyes wants, perhaps, or would you give him another try in the first team?
I think I'd sell him, Jake. I think I'd sell both Anderson and Lanzini. If you can get,
Yeah.
30 million for them both, I think that's very good business.
Yeah.
Anderson's price tag has probably naturally gone down a lot now because
No,
he's not
big time.
really featured. But like Peach said, they're both confidence players. They both need an arm around them, and and Moyes is the guy to do that. When Moyes first came in for was it second spell? Anderson played against Bournemouth, and he
Yeah,
was
I was there.
was brilliant, wasn't he? That goal
That
he
was
scored,
cracking
brilliant.
game,
Yeah,
4-0,
and
and it just looked like things were up, and they are up now. But just in terms of just in terms of just in terms of Anderson, it's just a frustrating player. That Dan, do you think that Moyes will accept or even have room or care about players like these who try when they want?
yeah, I feel like Moyes is that guy to get the best out of players. Jake, definitely. I feel.
Yeah.
He wasn't keen on Fornals, was he, when he came in? But Fornals won him
No,
over.
it
This will be
wasn't.
the same with
Yeah.
Ben Rama. Moyes didn't give Fornals a game, did he, at all, Peach? And, Fornals eventually won him over with, his work rate. So
Yeah.
I feel like they'll both move on in the summer. Lanzini lives off that goal against Spurs, and delivered us a lot of joy. I know that, but Lanzini's a good player. I think injuries have got the better of him over the seasons. So I feel like they'll both move on to accommodate other players like Jesse Lingard, and like a new striker as well.
Yeah, I'm going to ask that just before I come to Andy, the new Lucas Fabianski. Peach, I'm going to come to you then.
Yeah.
Anderson, I mean, it's going to be sad to see Lanzini go. I mean, the memories and even the memories this season.
Absolutely.
I mean, no one's ever going to forget that 2015-16 season, the link up with him and Payet. Nobody's going to forget. Nobody's going to forget that goal against Spurs, which, I mean, I still can't believe it to this day. And such a West Ham player, and if he does move on, it's gonna be sad to see, because he created a lot of memories at West Ham, and he's stuck through the bad times and the good times, and I've really got some respect for that man.
He's a very skillful player. Jake, when you like messed up your crucial I was gonna say crucial ligament, but it ain't even ligament. They're Achilles. When you do that, you're always second guessing, like, to take off, but you don't want it happening again, and that's messed with Lanzini's psyche, which is insane, because like he has such vision of the game. It's insane, man. The goal against Tottenham, that was the Adams 32 take off your shirt time. It was brilliant. But yeah, man, it's the same about Lanzini. With Anderson, I'd send him on a good night out in London, dog. Send him on a good night out in London, dog, and get him some gals, get him get him legless, man. Send him to Duke's Pub, man. Like, let him go to Dartford and come back to London and just like pamper him. I still see hope in Anderson, but I agree with Dan. After we got these two checkmate boys, you see what can go on, man. And like, there's skill over there. There is like mad skill over there where they don't need an arm around them. They can just like come out the blocks running like Usain Bolt, man.
Yeah. I'm just going to mute you for a second, Peach, because I think there's some sort of F1 race going on beyond you there. But Andy, I think we can hear you now.
My apologies. A traffic warden made me move, even though there's a traffic jam. I've pulled over in a decent spot, and he threatened to fine me if I don't move because he said I've been here for an hour, even though I've only been here for 10 minutes. But I just moved.
Oh, well, you should have said you were live on West Ham Unofficial, and then you would have just.
Exactly. But no, I pretty much echo what the guys have said. When I've done the tier list with Duke and Gatesy, I said I'd give Anderson another chance. Personally, but that was when he did actually play a couple of games. But I think since we've actually done the tier system, he hasn't even played. So it's a bit of that. But I do think there's still a player there with Anderson. Lanzini, I think he's just lost his sharpness since his injury. But Anderson, I still think especially in Europe, he can cause some damage. And I just think he needs someone like a Kevin Nolan to put his arm around him and tell him how amazing he is, and we could get that player back, and that could save us money, considering apparently we've only got 50 million now to spend in the summer, which is quite hilarious. So I don't believe what they say. Anyway.
Yeah. Right. So that is all the subjects I have wrote down. Would any of you three guys got anything you want to talk about West Ham related before we wrap things up? Whilst I'll tell you what I'm going to do, whilst you think of something, check out Canning Town Lane using the link in the description. I'll be back in just a minute's time, and we will discuss some more West Ham topics in just a second. Canning Town Len is your best place to buy custom portraits that you can buy on the internet. Canning Town Len does animated portraits like this one he did for me up here. They are absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't recommend them enough. And so just some ones that he did for me. I've got this one here outside the London Stadium. I mean, it looks just like me, really. The best possible kind of animated portrait, kind of animated cartoon kind of picture I could hope for, really. They're absolutely amazing, and they are so realistic, look exactly like me, and they are very good to buy. So make sure you do click the link in the description down below to buy a portrait from Canning Town Len. I'd highly recommend them. Click the link in the description down below. He does animated portraits, non-West Ham related, West Ham related, lots of different backgrounds, any shirt, any background. You can basically customize it to your absolute kind of needs and what you exactly want. So click the link in the description down below to check out Canning Town Len. Come on, you guys. So we've had some topics come in the chat, and Dan, I'm going to put this.
Let's have it.
So Dan, I'm going to come straight to you then.
Big up Mandy. How you mean? My girl. Big up Mandy, though.
There we go. Can we make top 6 if we don't get Declan Rice and Antonio back? I mean, if you would have asked me this and we were fighting relegation a year ago, I'd have thought that's the spine of our team. Creswell in there as well. That's the spine of our team. We'd have not a chance. But you know, we're a new West Ham. I mean, we've definitely missed them. That's for sure. But yeah. What would you say in response to Mandy's question, Dan?
I'd say we can. Because Liverpool are off it this season. They've been off it all year. I feel like we won't get top 4. I feel Chelsea will cement that place. It's disappointing. I know if we had Rice and Antonio now, I would have said we'd be in there at the end of the season and we'd finish top 4. But listen, top 6 is an incredible season, an incredible finish considering where we were last season, Jake. So definitely, you know, it's such an achievement for this squad, and Europe next season will give these players such a boost. We can all go back. We can go to the ground, be buzzing that we're in Europe. So top 6 definitely, yeah, even without them.
Yeah. Peach, positive Peach, can we get Europa League if we don't get these key players back?
Of course. Of course. But I want to know about Andy Miles's like training session tryout with West Ham.
Tomorrow, isn't it, Andy?
Yeah, I'm eating healthy. I've already ordered it. I'm having a nice kebab ready for tomorrow.
Whoa.
I'm gonna have my 10 hours sleep, and I have booked to go to the pub on Sunday to recover and
Love it.
prepare for Monday.
Love it.
No,
I love it.
no. In all seriousness, no. I literally am gonna die tomorrow. I can't remember the last time I kicked a football, so I'm probably gonna spend most of it in goal. So,
It's like
but
riding a
with
bike,
regards,
dog. You'll be fine. You'll be fine, man. It's like riding a bike, man. You'll be fine, man. Like, yo, what are your thoughts on Burnley, Dan, Andy, and Jake?
Andy, I'll go to you first.
that win last week has pretty much cemented them, and the way it's to do with psychological. They do it all the time. As soon as they
Yeah.
get to that magic point when they're safe, they get in holiday mode. The one player
They get
though
the flip flops
is,
out.
but the one player who I would love at West Ham is McNeil. I think he'll be brilliant for us.
Who's that? Who's that? Say that again. Who's that?
Dwight McNeil, the winger.
Yeah.
I think he is the missing piece to us, because I can see we don't. The last natural left winger we had was Matty Everton. That's so long ago. Do you know someone with
What a
a
player.
natural
Yeah.
left, and he actually plays on that side, and I think he would.
Yeah.
It would be a great addition as well. And I actually like their left back as well, Charlie Taylor. I think he's pretty decent. I think he's pretty decent, and I think that they would fit in with us. But yeah, with regards to Burnley, I think this is the best time to play them. To be honest, after that result, they're not really playing for anything now, and I can see us honestly getting a clean sheet. I think we're going to win 3-0.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like.
their minds are on the beach, dog. They're drinking pina coladas with like, trust me, their minds are on the beach, dog. Straight up.
Yeah, Dan, we discussed it a little bit earlier on. I mean, they've got some key threats, haven't they? But just before we kind of finish off that bit, they've got some key threats. But I mean, let's just do it. I think we've got enough there, even if we don't have Antonio back. I think.
I'd hope so, Jay. Yeah, I just feel like they'll need. I feel like Dyche will say to them they need a few more points just to secure their status. Because you never know in the Premier League, do you? You know, the gap between Fulham and Brighton is probably enough now. You know, Fulham are probably down, unfortunately, but Dyche will say to them players, don't take your shoes off yet. Don't get your flip flops on, because this league is very unpredictable. But looking at that, they're pretty much there. One more win, probably, Jake, and it does it. So they're a good team. Like Andy says, McNeil's a fantastic player. Don't allow him to put crosses in the box, because that's where their strength lies. And their tails will be up. But I think we've got enough. I think we've got enough on the counter attack. Jesse Lingard's on fire. Bowen's on fire. So them two together linking up at Turf Moor, there's a problem there. So fingers crossed.
And I'd like to see Lanzini and Ben Rahman link up. I'd like to see that. I think it's going to be the Jesse Lingard show. But then I agree with what you said about bringing Dawson back in, just to like deal with Wood. I think that's spot on, man.
We've got to do what Newcastle done to them, and literally just hit them on. We can't play the way we normally play set pieces. They'll outclass us on set pieces. I reckon it will be very close, like it was at the London Stadium with the 1-0 win. But the quality what we've got up front, that will be the difference. And I just hope that Ben Rama is the key. If he doesn't start, I still think we'll win. But Ben Rama unleashing balls to Bowen and Lingard, their back four is not exactly quick, and I think. But we just got to hope Nick Pope has an odd day, because he always plays well against us, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Lingard must be like ticked off from his performance like the other week, right? I think he's going to be ticked off, and he's going to come out with the points to prove, man.
Let's hope so. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. As Lee says, hit the like button. Come on, you Irons. We are massive. Lee is always positive. West Ham's not done yet.
Lee.
I like it. Yeah. Need 3 points on Monday night. That's for sure. Mandy says,
Like
do
a-
we need... Go on.
Oh, sorry, Jake. I was just going to say, I don't care how we play, as long as we get the 3 points. I don't care if it's an ugly 1-0 like it was in the reverse game. I think that's what we need to get in the head. I don't care if we have 20% possession and we win 1-0. I don't care. As we need the result.
No.
I don't care.
Oh yeah, I agree. Manny says, do we need 3 offensive Sunday or a back 5 again with Jesse Bowen, Fornals behind? I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave that to the preview because we will be doing a preview. We have discussed this quite a lot, so we'll leave that to the preview. There's lots of options as me and Dan discussed earlier on, but let's see what Mandy has said here. Agree, Peach. I would like to see Lanzini sitting with Fornals and Souček. Ben Rama linking up with Jesse and Bowen in a back 4 times ago for that top 6 spot with passion, not breakaway football. I agree. Lee says we are just too honest. Other clubs cheat, are cheats and divers. I mean, yeah. I think we saw some nice
Who is
tactical
the ref?
fouls.
Does anyone know who the ref is?
I'll have a look. Hang on.
It better not be my team, dog. It better not be my team, dog.
Oh, John Moss. You know it. John
Is
Moss.
it?
Yes.
No, I'm checking. I'm checking.
I can't.
And Kevin
I
Friendly's
can't
not
see it.
friendly with us, man. Kevin Friendly is not friendly with us. And you know what Jake and Dan were talking about earlier on about like back 5 things? Like, yo, I'd have Jake was bang on the money, dog. Like, yo, we need like Matsuaku
Anthony
can't
Taylor.
defend. Matsuaku can't shoot. But Matsuaku brings it from like our end to their end. That's all we need. And it's like, yo, I want to see Matsuaku. Like, I want to see Fredericks. Like, yo, Frederick didn't look bad the other day, man. He didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Right. So, Anthony Taylor, you said was the referee then, Andy. I mean, that's not that bad. But just before we wrap things up, then, Dan, I'm gonna pass it over to you. Any final words about anything we've talked about? Final words before we go down.
I just thanks for having me on, Jake, and we need to respond on Monday night. You know, these last 2 fixtures we've played well, but we've ultimately lost them both. Moyes will be looking for a response. We've done it all season. We've defied the odds. We've proven people wrong. And against Burnley, you know, we've only won 2 of our last 5 at Turf Moor. So statistics don't lie well with us. But I'm confident that with the players we've got, if we stop McNeil and Charlie Taylor from putting crosses in the box and Matt Lowton as well, that we can go there, get a result and push up the table and 4 more games to go after that. So I'm hoping we get a win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've got to respond, and that's for sure. But just before I go, the Champions League final showdown quiz will be on Bank Holiday Monday, 5 p.m. is the not the Intertoto Cup. That's done. The Champions League showdown quiz final with that man Charlie Walsh, Gatesy versus James. It will be a good one. So check that out on Monday. That will be good. And tomorrow, another.
Remember, Gatesy, whatever Gatesy gets, £2.50 for every right answer as well.
Is that my man?
Yeah, to Oilers Army, definitely. And another we haven't done one for another outside of the West Ham box tomorrow. Liverpool versus United is at the weekend, so also we'll be doing a preview for that tomorrow at 4 p.m. on the channel. But thank you very much, Dan, for coming on. Very late notice. Thank you very much to Andy and to Peach for coming on. Thank you very much,
Jake,
guys.
Jake, you know what? Yo, Jake, hold up. You know what? Come on, you Irons, of course. Come on, you Irons. But it's like, yo, all these big teams, they're playing one another and they got their mind elsewhere. It's like you're dating one girl, but you're having an affair. It's like you're looking in 2 directions, dog. And it's like, yo, you got Manchester United done dealing with that. Chelsea done dealing with that. Like, I'm telling you, man, that's going to work in our favor because all we got is league on our mind, baby. Champions League on our mind, dog. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just before we go, the Europa League last night, Man United convincingly 6-2 win. Arsenal were 2-1 down against Villarreal. I don't know what that means for Europa League and all of that. If an English team wins it, I don't know, but I'm sure if it comes to that, we will find out. But I mean, I think Man United are through to the final, and if it stays like that, Villarreal will go through. So Man United versus Villarreal in the final. I did have a wry smile when I saw Arsenal lost last night.
Arsenal Fan TV by any chance?
Maybe I had a little look this morning. Maybe. To be honest,
I do
I've got
apologise
two.
though, Jake. With coming on, it's been a bloody nightmare moving around and getting signals.
No, that's all right. No, thank you very much to for coming on because you're you're in the car. You just come back from work. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I've got two of my best friends are Arsenal fans, so I like to watch some of the AFTV to just get myself. And I went in small and smiling. Oh, you were rubbish last night, weren't you? And they said yes, so I had a happy morning. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Dan, as I said, Andy, and Peach for coming on. And I'll be back very, very soon. Come on, you irons, and goodbye.
Come on.